It's 107.5 WGCI, the Shies of one for hip hop and R&B. Special day coming up October 4th at the Croc Center. We're going to be at our Sista Strut, brought to you by your local Ford dealers. It's going to be an absolute celebration, but of course, we have been talking to a lot of people, man. I just was on ABC 7 talking about how great Sista Strut has been. And even at Sista Strut, we do a lot of great interviews. So it's good to talk to you, Nichole, to talk about Sista Strut, talk about breast cancer. How you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for sharing your story. First of all, that's a lot of people go through this in silence or just with family members. So you to get out in front of it is really cool.
Yeah. That's that's the point of me sharing my story. I feel like there is this stigma around breast cancer that it's like an older woman's disease, and it might have been 10 years ago, but I feel like now it's just affecting women younger, and there just isn't a community for women to share their story. And the more that I post online and share my story, and I get messages of girls that are like, I'm 18, I'm 21, I'm 22, and I'm pregnant. And it's just like, I feel grateful at this point to say that I was 26. Like 26 seems old now. And it's really not. So I kind of went against the textbook. The doctors wouldn't say 26 is age appropriate for breast cancer, but obviously, I'm proof that that's not true. And I think that there's a lot of other women that can say that they've gone against the textbook. There just really is no platform for people to share their story because there's this narrative that breast cancer only affects older women. And I think that there's just so many different external factors from food and environment and birth control that is just causing women to get sick younger or diagnosed younger. So
Yeah, give us a little bit of the story. Tell everybody a little bit about your story.
So I was diagnosed when I was 26. It's not that any doctor told me to do any sort of breast exam or anything. It was just, honestly, I was in the shower. And after I got out the shower, I put on a little bit too much lotion in my hands. And I was like, okay, where else can I rub myself? So I rubbed it on my chest, my breast at the time. And I don't believe that if my hands weren't lubricated, then I don't think I would have been able to feel the mass right behind my nipple. And thank God it was close enough to the surface so that when I was rubbing myself, I felt it. And I initially ran down to my mom and I was like, I feel something. And she's like, no, no, it's probably nothing. Maybe you're close to your period. Like this happens. And so I still was like not comfortable with having this like mass in my body. So I went to a breast center. They did an ultrasound and they said, it's fine. It looks normal, but I wanted to remove it because my logic at that point was that if I continue to let this grow and then I remove it, it's going to leave a larger indentation. So I'd rather take it while it's small because it was only like 0.09 centimeters. And so then I went to City of Hope, which is like a breast cancer research and hospital in Duarte, and they did a lumpectomy. And a lumpectomy is when they just go in to remove the mass. And it was a super easy surgery, wasn't painful. The recovery was really easy. And I had to go in a week later just to make sure that small like incision was healing properly. And it was no different than having a paper cut. Like it was so small, the recovery was easy, it was painless. And I don't know if you know, but whether you're removing a mass or a mole from your body, you have to send it to pathology. That's just the law. And so that day when I went in for the follow up, when I looked at my doctor, I knew that if she had blinked a couple more times, she would have cried because her eyes were filled with so much water. She knew she had to go back on her word and say, hey, pathology actually came back as stage 1 breast cancer. And in that moment, if anyone had told me, like, how would you react if you had cancer? I would think that I would be like, crying and like over the top. But like once I was in that moment, I had no emotion. I was just kind of like, okay, like where do we go from here? What's the next steps? Like, how soon can I have a double mastectomy? Because I don't, once you know there's like cancer in your body, it's such a weird feeling to know like this isn't supposed to be here. It's not good. And I just wanted it out as soon as I could. So 2 weeks later, I went and I had a full double mastectomy, which was I didn't know what pain was, honestly, until I woke up from that surgery. It is one of the most painful surgeries. But thank God for medications and doctors and a team because you can definitely manage it. But the part that I feel like that isn't talked about enough, because when you go into surgery and you're signing all the paperwork and the fine print that says there's a chance that you can get an infection, I'm like, it can't get worse than this. Like a double mastectomy is already pretty bad at 26. And sure enough, I ended up with an infection, which was like a huge setback in my recovery because then I had like one implant up here that was way smaller and then the other one was down below. It was just like I didn't know a female body could look the way that it did during my recovery, to be honest. And at 26, my girlfriends are having conversations about getting engaged and having maybe their second baby and getting a house. And I'm over here having discussions about like, what do you mean I have to like have a double mastectomy and remove a nipple? I didn't even know that a nipple could be removed from the body. Like you see people who how do I word this? So you see people who have amputations with their arms and their legs or their fingers, and it's visible. But a nipple, like I didn't even know that that was an option at 26, or that you could even do that. So I was having very different and heavy conversations at my age. But I mean, now it all worked out. Just in the moment, I was just kind of like, "What is happening? This is not what I was expecting life was going to hand me, like this type of card, but it is what it is. And it worked out for me in the end. But it's definitely, I always tell people half the battle is mental. So, like, you have to stay in a positive headspace just to like protect your peace, your mindset, because it makes such a difference in your recovery. And
That is a wild story, and the crazy thing is, even more wild stories out there. People that have gone through it. There's been a Sister Strut some years back where it was a local Chicago rapper here, and then a man that had breast cancer, and that there's a small percentage of men that get it. So it's just, I mean, cancer is one of those things that unfortunately connect us as all human beings. It's something that's just crazy. I mean, when you think about Sister Strut, you think about your struggle. What is it in that instance, your struggle, your fight, and now your recovery? What would you want people to take from that?
I would say to, because I feel like people dodge the doctors all the time. And it doesn't matter what language you speak, what religion you are, cancer in any language is very scary and very heavy. And I know that this conversation is very heavy, but having the conversation is like the best and biggest first step to have, just so that people have the awareness.
Mhm.
Nobody is invincible. Cancer doesn't discriminate. So, stay on top of your doctor's appointments, trust your intuition, like know your body. If something feels off, like definitely get it tested, because at the end of the day, God forbid anybody has any sort of cancer. If you detect it early enough, then your recovery will be better, your chance of survival will be better. So I feel like I want to encourage women to do their little breast exams in the shower, feel yourself, just to like really know what your body feels like. And if something does feel off, just go get it tested or go get it checked out. That's the least that you could do. The worst they could say, I mean, the best thing they could say is nothing is wrong. And worst case scenario, you found out earlier. Because if I waited until even at 30, they say you're too young to do a mammogram. Like the doctors won't even book you for an appointment because your breasts are too young and too dense. And so I would recommend women doing a breast ultrasound. It's not painful, it's just as easy if you're pregnant, or the most accurate is a breast MRI with contrast. So you could really see everything.
Mhm.
And I just want to encourage everyone to go to the doctors, simple as that, because if there is something, like your chances are better if you catch it early. Because if I didn't find my tumor at 26 on my own, then if I had waited for like the appropriate age, that would have been like a stage, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that I mean that's just God right there. I mean, if
Yeah.
you have lotion on your hand, you're like, oh, okay, God, look, let me go ahead. That's just a God thing. But again, Salvation Army, Army Croc Center. This Saturday, Sister Strut is going to be a time. You're going to hear great stories. You're going to hear people that are in the fight, in the middle of the fight, maybe people that lost the fight, but they're to support. It's all about community. It's not all doom and gloom, everybody. It's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to see you out there. Remember, it starts at 10 a.m. Nichole, thank you so much
Thank
for
you
joining.
so much. And don't forget to wear your pink.
Oh, of course, of course. So one
Okay.
time I can get away with it.
All right. There you go.